I'm all about this topic. It comes up in our area all the time because Uncle Ronnie built a enclosed patio, and he did a pretty darn good job of it. We didn't go pull the permits because that's completely unnecessary per Uncle Ronnie. And Uncle Ronnie also, because he's a contractor and a skilled guy, he built a little studio apartment in the back that his daughter is now living in, which he also insisted he did not need permits. But it's really nice, usable space done in a workmanlike manner. This comes up all the time. So I'm really happy to see it on your guys' slide deck. So take it away.
Kim, you're kind of the expert at this one. Do you want to lean in?
I mean, the good news, if you think back to when the housing crisis first occurred, lenders were not even lending on an unpermitted space, right? Because in some communities, they were having to pull them back out at the time that they foreclosed upon them, so that they were even farther underwater. So the good news is they'll lend on unpermitted space again. The bad news for homeowners is we can't count that as part of the overall gross living area. So if your house before this beautiful addition was 1,400 square feet, we're going to compare your home to other 1,400 square foot homes. But we are going to give some value on a separate line item and say beautiful, finished storage. And then we're going to look for homes that also have finished storage. You did just get a comment in a question about ANSI standards, and that goes into measurement. So I'll address that really quickly. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac do require now, for the first time ever, that appraisers use a single standard of measurement, which is ANSI. And prior to this new requirement, appraisers could utilize any one of a number of standards of measurement, or also adapt a standard of measurement based upon the communities in which they live and what is more standard. So with ANSI, ANSI has very specific requirements about measurement. We've encouraged all of our appraisers to take an ANSI measuring course. And ANSI does have standards in it, for example, giving gross living area, they don't even call it GLA, but giving like a partially below grade, like a hillside home lower level, is supposed to be separated out and not part of the overall square footage. So there are some challenges with ANSI. We're working very closely with the GSEs to get those questions answered and working very closely with our appraiser panel. The good news is it's going to be reproducible, transparent, and clear for the first time ever, with our industry having to use one standard of measurement. The bad news is there's still challenges with that one standard of measurement, especially when it comes to things like hillside homes.
Got it. Okay, awesome. Can we go to the next slide? With unpermitted space, when you, so just like when you're refinancing it, you can't give any value. When you're selling it, the appraiser isn't going to give it value per se. So oftentimes when you have unpermitted room additions, I feel like the appraisers do try to somehow hit the value by finding something that is similar to be able to bring it up a little bit. But sometimes, if it's a pretty elaborate room addition or, granny quarters that, a lot of these granny quarters now, ADUs cost $100,000, $150,000. So that's something that the buyer of this property will have to make up if the value doesn't come in, correct? Okay.
So appraisers don't try to hit value. I just want to make that clear. But they do look at, everything within that home.
Got it.
And even though we can't count an unpermitted space or a separate space as part of the gross living area, we do believe it has value, right? When that potential buyer walks in, they might not care that it's not permitted, but it's still valuable to them. So we do try very hard to find homes that also have a similar space that we can compare it to. the more realtors tell us on MLS, because remember, appraisers use MLS for their comparable searches and studies. If they can tell us this one has an au pair or a beautiful finished storage area, rather than hiding that information, that allows us to do an even better job of correctly valuing the property.
Okay, got it. I liked on the last thoughts thing about the square footage. You know, we have this a lot where the square footage is different on title than it is per the homeowner. And oftentimes is that from some kind of room addition, and how does a homeowner get that corrected?
So the borrower would have to go to the public records, to the county, to have the permits verified to get that fixed. Otherwise, it's not going to be counted as contiguous space.
But now, if it is permitted, and then you guys go out and measure it, and it does measure 1,700 square feet, and title shows 1,300 square feet, and it's permitted, you guys are going to measure it, map it out, and give it the value for that square footage that it actually is, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
the appraiser would just make a note in the appraisal saying, I understand public record says it's 1,300 square feet, but here's why I'm absolutely certain that it's a legal 1,700 square foot property.
Okay, got it.
In fact, we do that on a daily basis. It's part of our QC process to require the appraiser to include public records in their appraisal and address any concerns and differences between public records and what they measured.
Okay.